Well, this is actually not the Victorian type of setup.
No.
A Victorian type of setup would be different. But anyway, this is actually what we call the mirror room. That some kind of change was coming there. I was no more a tiger, you know that. I was growing old in that broadcasting station, and situation was changing politically, economically, and people started coming. Let me not surprise you, or even let me not surprise you guys as well, that my starting salary was only 400 rupees.
Oh wow.
I started my radio career just from 400 rupees.
Wow.
How much is that going to be in pounds?
Censorship was there by the palace and the royals in terms of everything, all the media.
If you would have asked me this question during the Panchayat regime,
I would have gotten shot.
I would have risked my tongue being cut.
Really. Are we live? We're live. Excited. Scared as well. I'm going to introduce someone. Yeah, he's got a gun pointed to my head. I am really scared today because I'm doing this with someone who's got so much experience in life, so much experience in this field, and this is I'm here as a student. I just want to learn from you. So everything that you say, I'm going to take a side note, and I'm honestly here as a student. But yeah, we're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about your journey, your experiences. But at the end of the day, we want to inspire people. And, I want you to introduce the show first. So,
shall I intervene you?
Yeah.
Hopefully my train load of memories has already arrived. And the memories are being unloaded. And I'm going to throw them in front of you.
As much as you can.
So, shall we start then?
Let's start.
All right then. Well, I'm very proud to be in this Sabali talk. I was told Sabali talk. I didn't understand that, although I've been speaking English for, almost more than 50 years or so. But then it happened to be talk.
Talks, yeah.
This is how my English teachers, my mother superiors in convent schools, they taught me how to pronounce that word. I'm not trying to criticize you.
No.
You have your own accent.
Yeah.
You said Sabali talk.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Sabali talks.
I think I took this from a British side. So there's more British coming out.
No problem.
I think
I said take it easy.
Yeah, mutually, we're all human, so we gotta respect each other's accents.
That's
so.
true.
Yeah.
I was simply trying to correct my
way. Yeah. It's always good. So I just want to point out the location as well. It's such a fantastic room. This is full of life. And there's so much stuff here. The statues, the books, the paintings. And actually, there's so much stuff around here that it's got so much life. And it must have taken years for you to compile this. And the accumulation here is absolutely amazing. So it's just, wow. I'm just astounded.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, let me add to your comments on that. So this is actually in a room, which I prefer to call it mirror room, because you see all mirrors around.
Yeah.
And you have got stuff which are really old. So I'm not a very big collector, but I'm such a person because I just don't want to throw things away once I bought them. I want to preserve them, you see. Well, preserve them, these stuffs for my next generation.
Yeah.
When they see my dad or my granddad. So this is my hobby. I've been collecting almost every week.
Wow. There's a lot of history in this room. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's always good when you come into the rooms like this and then you can literally just come in here. Because I really like history.
You see, there's another point in this room. I'm trying to be very diplomatic now. This room has got very good diplomacy. Diplomacy in the sense that once the guest or people, they come in, and they sit and they simply, roll their eyes and watching as to what is there, whether they have got the same stuff at home or not. So that relaxes them a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
So they don't feel, they are not very conscious of their arrival, of their presence. They would simply sit down there, get relaxed.
There is a calming sensation.
And the atmosphere is also there.
It's beautiful.
In other words, the ambience is there.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for, ambience. So, lovely. Right, so we're going to move on to
Please.
Q&A.
You're welcome.
So, I normally start backwards. Because why follow the crowd?
In
Why follow the crowd?
In whatever way you like.
Yeah, exactly.
Backwards,
forward. I call it backwards, forward. So, Q&A first. I've got some questions that I've compiled.
Please.
So, I'm just going to read it out. Who was your idol or a role model that you looked up to when you started?
Well, I'll just give you an example right away as to who my role model had been. You are talking about my journey as a broadcaster, right? So, my greatest idol in the news was Peter King of the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. I'm sure that the older generations of British people would love to hear this name, Peter King. Well, he was an excellent newscaster. Then came Michael Ashby. So you see, I was encouraged by these people to read English news, in good English.
Yeah.
This is how I picked up. Naturally, my school background was there. I was brought up in a convent school. So this is how I got the name Michael.
Got you. Okay.
And I've got the other name as well. That is the Nepali name Harishchan. So Harishchan was used by Radio Nepal when I was reading the news. So I was wanting to say Michael Chan.
Yeah.
The news read by Michael Chan. They said, no, you don't do that. Because people will think that we have hired a Christian. There's so many Nepalese around who do speak English. So they asked me whether I had a Nepali name. I said, yes, Harishchan. So when you read the news, say Harishchan. And when you're doing the other programs, you say Michael Chan. So this is how it all got started. In the news, I was Harishchan. And I was doing other programs at Radio Nepal, like the External Service, like interviews and music programs, etc., etc. And I used to call myself Michael Chand. Because Michael Chand is still my certificate name.
Okay.
It's in my passport.
Yeah.
So all the documents are under that name.
Ah.
So this is how it all started.
Okay, fair enough. Right, the other question is, did you ever speak differently on radio? So, like consciously different? Did you have to invent a new character? Or was this always...
In what sense?
When you were presenting yourself, did you have to become a different person when you were...
Oh, yes. Like, I'm talking to you because this is an interview. You're just trying to get, dig most of the things out of me. But if I were now sitting in the studio, I would say, well, friends, this is me, Michael Chand, sitting for this great interview, conducted by the Somali Talks of London. I'm really proud to be in front of this microphone and talking to you. And I'll promise you, I'll give you the best, and the best answers.
Ever. Thank you very much.
This you wanted me to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
That's a bit of character, I guess.
I did it.
Yeah, it is a character, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
Now, let me add. When I was doing music programs, that used to be a live program every Saturday, 12 noon NST, Nepal Standard Time. I'm talking about 1982.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, 1985. At that time, you didn't have FMs, no Facebook.
Oh, no FMs either.
No.
Okay. Well, shortwave.
No internet.
Yeah.
So Radio Nepal was the sole radio station of the country, where then people really got glued. Every Saturday, 12 noon NST, when I was to do an hour-long musical hour. You see, and that was the program people were really waiting for. And people were dying to hear that. Maybe, you might not have heard that program, but just ask your dad or anybody who lived in that age or who were born
that era,
during that era, so they can give you a better profile of the program and me.
Yeah.
So then I was doing two things at the same time. I was the obverse and I was the reverse.
Gotcha.
Obverse, that means in a coin, if you look at a coin, it has got two faces.
Yeah.
Obverse and reverse.
Yeah.
Obverse is the front, reverse is the back.
Back, yeah.
If I'm correct. So with these two names, one was the news, the other was the program. So things used to go, in a parallel way.
Yeah. Yeah. Understand.
Right? You had to.
Yeah.
At that time, working as a media person at a radio station like Radio Nepal was a real boon from Lord Shiva,
As the biggest achievement.
That was the biggest achievement that one had during that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the quality was also there.
That's most importantly, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what people remember you for, the quality that you delivered.
No, I'm not telling that I was
No.
man
Even
with the best
like,
quality.
when I told my dad that I was doing this with you, he was really excited.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh wow."
No, I tried to be honest,
Yeah.
with my speech, with my own diction, with my vocabulary and everything. I really didn't imitate anyone.
No.
But, like I said earlier, my idols were there who inspired me.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm going to repeat those honourable names: Peter King of the BBC newscaster and Michael Ashby. And there are several others, but these two were my real idols.
Got you. Very interesting. Right. Another one is a moment when you almost quit.
Well, I really didn't do that, but I can tell you an incident. After having worked with Radio Nepal for more than 32 years, I thought that some kind of change was coming there. I was no more a tiger, you know that? I was growing old in that broadcasting station, and situation was changing politically, economically, and people started coming. So I was the lion, of that single forest.
Gotcha.
Then I saw
Invasion coming in.
Invasion, many wild animals, good animals coming, and I said, Michael, you don't have any chance now. What you do, if you keep on staying like this, then you'll have no chance. Your existence will be in question. So it's better you just leave your abode and just hand over the microphone
legacy
to the younger generation.
Wow.
This is how I quit. And I was not fired. I had to tender a forcible resignation, saying that I tried dozen times, submitting my resignation, but they wouldn't really would accept it. So I said, all right, okay, from so and so onwards, the date, I'm not going to come to the station anymore. I submitted that, and I came back home, and after that I didn't go.
You never looked back.
I never looked back. But the legacy, the talent, the opportunity I had accumulated at that time is still functioning, and I'm really grateful to Radio Nepal for this great achievement, for this great success. And whenever I'm talking to people on different occasions, I always, speak highly of Radio Nepal, because it was it was Radio Nepal which made Michael Chand.
Yeah.
So I must be at least grateful to that great radio station.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
I mean, some sort of allegiance should be there.
Yeah.
Respect should be there.
It should be, yeah.
I still love Radio Nepal.
Interesting. Very nice. Yeah. So the final question is, this is just a Q&A section. What was your first pay and what did you do with it?
Well. If this question were asked, this question was asked in London, I don't think people would have given you this answer straight away. Now
you can twist the answer as much as you want.
Let me not surprise you, or even let me not surprise you guys as well, that my starting salary was only 400 rupees.
Oh, wow.
I started my radio career just from 400 rupees.
Wow.
How much is that going to be in pounds?
Less than £4, £3.
£3. Clapping. I made my broadcasting career in Radio Nepal with £4 a month.
Wow.
Am I not brave?
So there wasn't a lot of money back then?
No, some increment was done later on. Then by the time I left, after 32 years, it was $6,000. So how much is that going to be in pounds? Let me joke again.
6,000 is, almost like 30 maybe.
30.
Yeah.
Then I made from 4 or 5 pounds to 30 pounds. Can you give me a Nobel Peace Prize for that? I want a prize for that.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing. Oh, God.
Do you remember your first investment that you made?
No. Actually, I was working with Rashtriya Najgar. Rashtriya Najgar used to be a cultural corporation where tourists used to go and then attend many cultural shows. And that was the place where my wife also used to work at the time. And I was engaged there as an MC. So I was earning some money there. And I was earning some money at radio. And I was earning some money as an English language teacher in one of the schools here in Kathmandu. So I used to make some money. And then, certainly
Not enough.
you would go around and enjoy. But at that time, $1,500.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 1971.
That's a lot of money.
72.
Yeah.
1,500 rupees.
Was a lot.
That was something.
That was something, yeah.
But now I had to break that because since you asked me how much I got at radio.
Yeah.
And then later on, after 32 years.
Yeah.
It's simply unbelievable,
Yeah.
Well, people will really laugh to death.
They would be absolutely fascinated.
I can expect some comments now.
Yeah.
After the end of the show.
And I really wanted people to understand that it's not all about money. And when you started, it was very low sum, but you kept on going.
Although
That's what I wanted to highlight.
I got that meager amount. Right? That what we said? How many pounds?
£4.
£4 a month.
Yeah.
£4 a month. But those £4 gave me, millions of pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Now people started respecting me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wherever I go these days too, people honor me.
Yeah.
And they call me in for awards, programs, and then of course, felicitations and.
Yeah.
This all due to those £4.
Exactly. That is an investment that you made.
That was an investment. Yeah.
Amazing. So I think we've come to the end of the Q&A.
Q&A, okay.
Q&A. So it was very exciting and fascinating, some of the answers that you gave. I'm sure the people will love it as well to hear how difficult it was.
I'm not trying to make faces and I'm not trying to use fake sentences just by acting. But I tell you, believe me, believe it or not, I have been telling you the truth, and this is what is the truth. What I've told you.
Yeah. Very, very Interesting. So now we move on to the main section where I ask you a question about your life, your journey, your starting, and then your experiences that we want to share to the youngsters, to anyone watching basically. And then just stories are what your legacies basically, because when you obviously, as you said, we're here for a very limited amount of time on this earth, and you've left a massive legacy. So I wanted to discuss that with you as well. Yeah. So the first one is, I know you have a very humble beginning. You come from a very humble background.
Yes.
Can you tell us a very small story of where you came from, which place,
actually,
and then
you see,
how you came to Kathmandu?
No, I belong to the far western part of Nepal, and our district is Baitari in the extreme western part, far western part. So from there I came to Kathmandu, and then after having my basic education over there, and then so the education standard in our district was not good at the time. So my father joined the American Army during the war, Second World War. He went to Myanmar, and my father took me to Myanmar as well. I was quite a small fellow, and they then made a career, not as a soldier but as a businessman. And then I went to school. This is how my convent school started. And
this
after
was
that,
in Myanmar?
Yeah. And after that we came back, and then my father had already 3 sons, me the eldest, and then we went to our ancestral place and where my father came from. And after that was in 1964, 65. So after 1 year then my father said, you should go to Kathmandu now for your further education. So this is how I came to Kathmandu for the first time in 1965.
Wow.
And then I joined the Tribhuvan Adarsa Vidyalaya TAV, the one in Farping. It's almost 20 kilometers from Kathmandu. So that used to be a boarding school, only for boys school. And from there then I completed my class 8, class 9, and class 10. I did my SLC. SLC I did it in 1966. Then I started doing my college activities. My father wanted me to become a doctor. With a stethoscope and a hung around, a wide apron, and then go on, calling myself Dr. Chand. But this dream didn't come true.
No.
Because I then changed my aim, I said...
Is that your passion then? Were you passionate about something else?
So I wanted to be a broadcaster, to speak.
So you had that...
So I told you,
intention.
Just now you were mentioning about the Pakistani fellow.
Yeah. The story.
Yeah, the story.
Yeah.
When they were doing a program, Nepal-Pakistan Friendship Society, that was the program.
Ah, okay.
And then the person who was doing the announcement at that time, well, he just had to go at nature's call.
Yeah, refresh.
Then they called me in. I took up that. I cooked 2 items. And people then they said, no, you continue. Well, after finishing the program, the people from the Pakistani embassy, they walked up to the stage and they said, who was the one? The second announcer. And the manager, stage managers, they said, he's the one. He said, beautiful voice. You keep it up, and one day you will be a very good broadcaster.
How old were you at this point?
I was around 21, 20.
Only 21?
21,
wow.
Yes.
Wow. What an encouragement that they provided, right?
And you see, the prophecy
was true.
Was true.
Yeah.
And I became the broadcaster, if not the broadcaster.
At what age did you become the broadcaster then?
So I was already speaking as an MC, doing stage programs, where my wife used to work, the Cultural Corporation. That was in, I think, 69.
Okay.
But the active announcement, public announcement, apart from the official one. So that I did it later on.
Got you. We got a company. We got a company.
Yeah, this is how it happened.
Yeah. Understand. So, this is related to the interview that you said. Like, you've interviewed a lot of people, and some were Secretary of State for America, some were very tough diplomats of different parts of the world. Which was your toughest interview there?
The toughest interview was with Dr. Henry Kissinger. He was no more U.S. Secretary of State at the time. That was in 1973, something like that. I think, yes. He had come to Kathmandu at the invitation of His late Majesty, King Birendra Bir Bikram Shadev. And then, you see, we didn't have TV, we didn't have any, let's say, internet, so only radio was there. So I was sent to Solti Hotel to conduct that interview. So for that I really had to prepare a lot, because I was facing a formidable diplomat, not something an easygoing person, or people like Dr.
Was he quite tough then?
Henry Kissinger.
Yeah.
I mean, who had won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was really proud to be his interviewer. to interview him. So we then started with many questions. Naturally, I had Q&A, like questions written, because in those days that was the norm.
Yeah.
Whenever you interviewed, people would simply like to go through the questions. He looked at the questions and said, all right, very good, let's continue. So we started talking about his career, we started talking about his visit, we're talking about his political, let's say, career.
Yeah.
He was already a very famous person, you see.
Yeah.
So then, my final question to Dr. Henry Kissinger was, what was the greatest setback for America during your reign or your time? He said, of course, America had great teams, but the greatest setback we suffered in the history of America or United States was our whole peace plan for Vietnam collapsed. We wanted to do something great, but didn't work. So that has really made me.
Was it the Secretary of State when there was the Vietnam War was?
Yes, I think it was going on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was any transition. So it was already. It happened already,
Yeah.
So I think it was all over. I mean the war and so this was happening. And now the second difficult person was Lee Kuan Yew.
Oh. Wow.
The Singapore Prime Minister.
Yeah. Very famous.
Very famous. Well, complicated and difficult really didn't mean that I could not interview them.
Yeah.
But they were not willing to talk to me
openly.
Frankly,
Yeah.
I was trying to get questions like, for example, the former World War II, crisis over there.
Yeah.
And he would tell me, no, let's not talk about it, because that's all over. That makes the Singaporeans very sick and very, very unhappy when you are talking about killings proper. So he would simply divert. This I didn't appreciate, because he was not as open as Dr. Henry Kissinger.
Okay.
Then I was given the opportunity to interview General Mohammad Arshad, the president of Bangladesh. at that time,
Yeah.
the former. So he was an easygoing type. He just simply asking would say yes, no, we are happy, and then,
Yeah.
well, Nepal, we like it.
Not a lot
Nepal
of
is
detail.
beautiful. And I was trying to go,
Yeah.
take my own directions,
Yeah.
just asking, trying to dig some answers out, like how he thinks about our panchayat system at that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How he felt, and then he said everything's fine. Like, you see, there was a proposal from His Majesty, His late Majesty King Birendra, during his coronation, that he declared Nepal as a zone of peace.
Mhm.
So they were all saying, yeah, we support
Yeah.
the zone of peace proposal. And then we were very proud, and we used to read, over Radio Nepal, the news, Bangladesh has become the so-and-so country, supporting the peace proposal of Nepal. Well, very proud news for the Nepalese at that time. Okay, then I just got the opportunity to interview the former Prime Minister of India, late Chandrasekhar,
Wow.
at Hotel Salty Hotels. And while I was asking questions in English, he would simply give half answers in Hindi and half in English. His English was really good,
What was he doing?
but I just don't know why he
You
didn't.
couldn't understand it, yeah.
No, I understood what he
yeah.
wanted to say.
Gotcha.
So my question to him when he was talking about Nepal should have a railway system, it's high time that train services exist in this country. And then, well, he said, okay, we can work on that. This is what the politicians say. We can work on that, we are going to plan, we're going to discuss, but nothing happened.
Mm.
So I have got my own journey of meeting people. Then my interviews with many African ministers, ambassadors.
Mhm.
So this is
Yeah.
all because of the 4 pounds I got.
It was started from that 4 pounds.
I'm coming back to the 4 pounds.
I might call this episode the 4 pound episode.
Yes,
Because I really like that.
you can do that.
Yeah. I
Do
think
it.
it's so powerful that that was the beginning. Right?
Yes, you see, 4 pounds I said.
If you hadn't accepted that
No.
4 pound,
Yeah, and
What would have
those
happened?
4 pounds,
Yeah.
look, they have transformed me
to the person that,
from a normal human being into Michael Chand today.
yeah, definitely,
What more do you need?
exactly. The humble 4 pound.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I might need.
yeah. That might be a very question.
Yeah.
Question.
I want to ask this question. I think it might be. It would have definitely been controversial if I asked this back then.
Yeah.
I think we can openly discuss this now because we're a sovereign nation now. How much censorship was there by the palace and the royals in terms of everything,
You
all the
see,
media?
If you would have asked me this question during the Panchayat regime,
I would have gotten shot.
I would have risked my tongue being cut
Really?
or my tongue being electrocuted, because you would not really
Speak against the crown.
speak against anything which was against the crown and against the panchayat system. But today, you asking me this question, then certainly, if someone is exerting pressure, then certainly censorship is also there.
Mhm.
So we had to really work in accordance with the directives, in accordance with the rules and regulations, and in accordance with the definitions of censorship of the Royal Palace then.
Exactly, word by word. You couldn't. There's no
I'll tell
leeway.
you one thing. Some sort of stupidity was also there, but I'm not scared anymore because, that's the true thing. I mean, it's the truth I'm telling you.
It's history, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, what happened? Once His late Majesty, King Birendra, and Queen Astoria, they made a trip. I mean, they used to make, occasional, usual trips, just inspection visits here and there. They had traveled to our part, to the far western. And there, in the course of the visit, they would just go to the temples, they would go and meet people here, there, lined up, and all sorts of gifts and so on. So they happened to go to a temple, they visited a temple. And the temple, they did their puja, they came back. And in the evening, it was my turn to read the news. I go there, the chief editor hands over the script to me, saying that Their Majesties, the King and Queen, paid homage to Goddess Uday Devi.
Okay.
Our, deity. So naturally I know our deity is not a woman.
No.
Our deity is a male. So it should be paid homage to the deity Uday Dev temple. Then the chief editor, I told him, this is wrong. But he said, no, there will be a controversy raised to this. I said, no. How can you force me to change the name of my deity from a man into a woman? This I'm not doing. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to risk my job, but I'm not. Then the other guy took it. Then there was a correction the next day from the Royal Palace saying that no, it was a mistake. It should not be Devi, it should be Dev. So this happened.
That's how blindly.
That was also how the system used to work. Well, it may sound like a criticism, but certainly you have to speak truth at times.
So this chief editor that you said,
Yeah.
they were all working for the palace, obviously. Everyone was
You
working.
see, I'm not blaming the chief editor.
No, I mean other stories, not
Yes,
just this
I
stories. All the script.
All this other stories used to be monitored.
Yeah.
Used to be censored.
So the script would come to you.
And certainly there was a sort of an establishment of contacts saying which news should go, which news should not go.
Okay.
You see, like for example, China, our relations with China, our relations with India.
Yeah.
So that was on a proper balance. So we couldn't really, outlay, or we couldn't really manipulate the news at a time, like it is happening now.
Yeah.
You say something, they write something.
Something else.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess this is the other side of the world now, that back then it was censored, so people would get fed one news, and that was one news.
Yeah.
And now it's different, right? There's so many news coming out.
Let me go back to that era. What I'm trying to say is, for example, of course censorship was there, control was there. But that system, taught us discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I must agree. Yeah. And I must tell you that the Panchayat system brought discipline in us. We were scared, we were afraid of committing mistakes. So we wouldn't really dare commit any mistakes.
But did that impinge on the freedom?
Of course, that did. But still, that sort of frightened discipline. So what I'm telling you is, I'm telling you the other part. Of course, the shortcomings were there.
Yeah.
Let's forget the shortcomings for the time being.
Yeah.
But you see,
I understand the
the
system.
advantages were there.
Yeah.
And still today, I'm scared of committing any mistake. And when Panchayat era was abolished, Panchayat system was abolished, well, even when I decided to leave radio, so that was there. So if you go and ask people who have worked under the Panchayat system, or you can even ask your dad, they would simply tell you, yes, there was discipline. Of course, some misgivings were there, but discipline was also there.
Understand.
You wouldn't dare to commit mistakes.
You couldn't afford to, right? That would cost you life.
Life.
Or a very serious...
And losing a job at the time.
Yeah. And quite a prestigious job as well.
Something like falling into Lucifer's, boiling water.
Yeah. Devil, straight to devil's pit. Right. There's one thing. Like you said, you've conducted numerous interviews. How do you prepare for an interview then? What background?
In the first phase,
you talked about the rundown that you do.
Yeah, in the first phase, like for example, when we started, like suddenly we used to write questions, because in those days, we were asked to submit the questions before the interview. So that was the system. But later on, when I got used to it, I would jot down some of the points and form my own questions. And even after that, I would simply study the person, his profile, what he did, achievements, his political career, why is he here, why is he in Nepal for? And if you get that, then you can just build up those questions. So most of the questions just went. Well, still today, if I have to do some very good professional interviews, then certainly I'll have to jot down. If not questions, I'll have to jot down the points.
Gotcha.
Because things have already changed.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't like before. Mm-hmm. So you had only radio at that time. Mm-hmm. You had radio and people.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That's quite interesting. So what tip would you give me as an amateur? I call myself an amateur in front of you. What tips would you give me?
You see, that is actually the phase that comes in everybody's life.
Yeah.
Start, learn, okay? And you qualify yourself, and then do trainings, practice, and so on. So my honest suggestion would be, trust yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Believe in your own work. Believe in what you do. Do not imitate. Because here in Nepal there's a tendency, of course, to speak English. But in most cases I've heard many people speaking on TV, in other programs, like, you see, I've hardly heard a person or persons who have qualified themselves to be as broadcasters in English language.
Good.
Tell me, to speak 3 minutes in spontaneous English. They won't do it. They can't do it. It will go, then Nepali has to be taken as a breaker, and some English words will come in.
A filler.
Yeah. And then again, the fill-ups are there, and these fill-ups, they make them really very popular.
It does, yeah.
And according to their own style.
Yeah.
But then I come back. The greatest thing is you must be proud of what you are doing.
Yeah.
And try to learn from others as well.
Yeah.
You see, can you imagine, I've got stacks of my notes over here. Every evening I sit down. I've been watching movies. I've been watching some Western series and so on. And whenever a nice sentence is spoken, I just write it down. I've got that. I'll show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I learn them. You see? And then I use them too. And I give them courtesy.
Yeah.
So this is how it's a learning process,
Also, is it the power of repetition?
Power of repetition
is so powerful. Right?
Actually, power of repetition is mugging. I wouldn't really, take everything by heart.
Yeah.
But you should be really proud of what you are doing. You should always say, today I've done this, tomorrow I'll be doing even much better.
Yeah.
So be
yeah.
optimistic, not pessimistic, you know that. And whenever you fire your bullet, you have to aim it properly and fire that bullet. Because once you fire the bullet, you cannot put that bullet back into the gun.
No.
Right?
No.
Maybe this alone can explain many things to you.
It does. That's a very powerful analogy.
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
And on top of that, you should always follow wise men, their sayings, how you build up your career, how you learn stuff. Like all great men have made their life sublime, and departing leave behind footprints on the sands of time.
Beautiful.
This is what you do.
Beautiful.
If you can do this,
there is no problem. Just go ahead. Beautiful. So this is a slightly funnier question. Or what was the funniest moment in your life, as working career, or like a particular
funniest moment?
Yeah, it could be not just working in your life, like there's an event that happened or something happened.
Well, funniest moments. Well, I've got many. What do you remember?
Something that comes up to your mind straight away.
Like, for example, you just plan something and you go to the studio and do something. Well, that's not the funniest moment. That's a joke. The funniest moments, they come with your age. So on many occasions I put my glasses on and I start looking frantically where my glasses are.
Yeah.
And someone in the studio says, Dai, Chashma to lai rahnu bhako cha." Okay. Well, I don't have any, things might have happened, but I may have forgotten.
Have you done any pranks on anyone? Anything whilst you're working? I don't know.
No, I haven't done that.
No.
But that becomes imitation,
It is, yeah.
And I'm not an actor.
No.
My wife is an actress, but I'm not an actor.
And we're going to just talk on that now.
Yeah, please.
I think she was your wife, or auntie. She was the first actress of Nepal. Yeah. And so this is a funny question from my side, a bit of romance as well. So how did you approach her, and how many rejections did you get?
Oh my God, this is something like this. Look, it wasn't very difficult for me to really, please her, because I was already working at that place where she was working. I was working there as an announcer, stage announcer while doing MC, let's say, for 4 years. So in these 4 years, I was there. I'd seen her, met her while we have there, we had tea together, coffee together. So in this way, some kind of relationship, got built up. But before that, when I was teaching and I was working with radio, she was already one of my ardent fans.
All right.
So I really didn't
had to work too hard.
Believe, that one day this person would be my wife.
You never thought that?
No. So this how.
So how long after you met or saw her?
Oh, that is 6 years.
The thing came to fruition.
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
And
we got married on the 6th of October, 1976. So that is almost how many years now? 42, 43?
Yeah. Plus.
40, how many? 46 years. So a question like this should have been asked 46 years ago. But if someone asks questions after 46 years, then certainly, the answers...
It's going to be slightly different.
The answers will be slightly different.
Because the feelings are obviously...
So this is how I picked up and she picked me up.
So, no, you said 6 years. I wanna break this down. 6 years, but when did you actually... propose her? Or at what?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
it fourth, fifth, sixth years?
You see, the thing is, in 1976, it was decided that I would go to Germany from Radio Nepal on a 2-year in-service training to work with Radio Deutsche Welle, the voice of Germany, in the English department. Then I would come back only after 2 years. But later it happened to be 3 years. So, you see, both sides we became skeptical as to what is going to happen.
Yeah.
After 3 years or 2 years. I might get married to a German,
Yeah, you never know.
or she might get married to someone else. So this is how it worked. So there was sort of a talk together. We then decided.
This is
okay,
before you went?
Before I went. And we got married on the 6th of October. On the 7th, interesting, on the 7th, she flew with the cultural delegation to Moscow.
Oh, wow. The next day?
On the 7th. Now, can you give me any example of this kind of marriage
Yeah.
of anyone? I would say, in this world, events like marriages, they always have excuses.
Yeah.
Like you can say, I'm getting married. Can I come after 20 days? Can I come after 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You see, but this didn't happen.
No.
On the second day,
She was gone.
she flies to Moscow. And on the third day, I fly to Germany.
Wow.
Do you get that point?
Yeah. Extraordinary honeymoon.
Then we met. After 3 months, she came to Germany after 3 months.
Okay.
October, November, December, January. Then we met her we both met
In Germany.
in Germany. And this is how it started.
Wow.
Doesn't it sound romantic?
It does. It's very romantic.
And adventurous as well.
It was quite a different style.
Oh, yeah. Now, my question to you, would you ever do that? You get married, would you send your wife on a mission somewhere on the next day?
I would. Trust. Plus,
Are you sure?
if it's not funny business, and if it's not, you see what I mean. If it's a genuine thing that she's working towards, and if it's and you both respected each other's work,
that's
right?
true.
And that was the whole point, that you knew where you were going, and you knew where she was going.
Yeah, sorry. The perfect answer could be that certainly yes, because if it is a known fact that you're going to meet after some time in a foreign country, why not?
Even more exciting.
Look at the luck we had. Lucky me and lucky ourselves, or lucky us. She goes the next day after marriage, once again to Moscow. On the third day, I fly to Germany. We know that we are going to meet each other in Germany. So after 3 months, I go to the airport, not Tribun International Airport, but Cologne-Bonn Airport in Germany. This is how it started.
Beautiful. Amazing.
Well, I can't really forget, that.
And the romance just grew after that.
You see, you were doing honeymoon in a foreign country.
Yeah, exactly. You had to wait for the honeymoon.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bit of a waiting period, but it's a fantastic story. So there's so this question is also going back to your career. At that time, Radio Nepal was the only platform, and there were very few opportunities around. But you still went for it. There were other things that you could have done. So what my question is if you weren't doing RJ, if you weren't an RJ, or if you weren't a media person, what would your career be? An alternative career?
Okay, I would come back a little bit later. Would you allow me to do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm going to make a small rejoinder to our honeymoon or whatsoever.
Let's talk about that.
Then, I was expecting a question from you as to how many children do you have?
Okay.
You're talking only about wife, husband. So you are not talking about the outputs.
Right, let's go. Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about the outputs now.
Well, we have 3 daughters. 3 daughters. The eldest is Sheila. The middle one is Sheetal. And the third one is Shirus. They are both in America, in USA.
Okay.
And we are now together. Well, it leaves room, plenty of room to both of us for a honeymoon as long as we can.
Yeah. It's a never-ending honeymoon.
It's a never-ending honeymoon. Believe me, it's a never-ending honeymoon. All right?
I wish I had and I pray for a relationship like that as well.
Right?
Yeah.
So they are there.
Yeah.
And before going to the United States, my eldest daughter was a newscaster in English language over Radio Nepal.
Oh, wow.
She did news reading for 4 years, and the middle one, Sheetal Chand, did for 2 years. And then, well, they all went to, they are now settled there.
Doing their own thing.
Doing their own thing, and we're doing our own thing.
Everyone does their own thing in the end.
And we're doing our own thing. Don't be mistaken about that. We are doing our own usual chores and usual work at home.
Yeah, exactly. Life continues.
Oh yes, life continues.
Yeah. So should we move back to that question? An alternative, career.
Yes.
What would you do? What would you have done?
Well, coming back to that beautiful question of yours, well, I think I would have become a teacher. I had that job already while I was working with radio. So if that hadn't worked, if radio hadn't worked, so I would have really, joined some of the schools as a teacher. And I would have been leading a scholastic life now.
Yeah.
Scholastic.
Yeah.
But you see, God had already destined me to go into the broadcasting sector. And of course, my father wanted to be an OR at the end.
Oh, wow.
Using OR at the end, DOCTOR.
Gotcha.
But I happen to become now ER, broadcaster, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference between OR and ER. So I decided to become ER.
So the OR you would have done for your family, parents. ER you did it for yourself.
That's right.
And I guess the satisfaction that comes from pursuing your dream and career.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing beats that, does it? Nothing beats that. And that's
let's hope so. This is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. No, especially I've seen a lot of this. Let me give you an insight of why I think this is important. Like talking and sitting down and speaking with people that have done and pursued their dreams is very important. Is because you see people there stuck in life. They have their desires, their dreams, and their aspirations, but there is also the other side of the equation where they don't have the not the vision itself, but they don't have. I think they procrastinate a lot. And that's the problem with life. If there's a passion that you want to continue with, you have to go for it. But if there's something that you really want to do, then nothing should stop you, should it? A blockage is merely just a blockage, isn't it? And people think that people don't even try. They don't even try to explore what they're good at. Me doing this, I don't think I'm good at this, but this is something me exploring and trying to see if I can, push myself to the edges of my potential. And only way that you can find your potential is by experimenting, right?
That's true. Now, I would like to add a little bit to what you have said. For example, in those days, during the Panchayat regime, I'm coming back to that because I belong to that period, you see. So, becoming impatient and then nervous, not knowing what to do. That was not the lesson we learned at that time. The lesson learned at that time was to be patient, to wait, expect for better results. Never give it up. No. Only in extreme cases when nothing functions, then certainly you raise your hands.
Yeah, can't do it. Yeah,
can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for that.
Otherwise, you'd always push
Huh? This way.
Yeah, put your hands up.
Huh?
But otherwise you'll be grinding, right? Grinding.
Otherwise,
and grinding.
be determined.
Yeah.
I would really ask all the youngsters to be determined. You see, in those days, my friends were having good meals at home, right? They were enjoying their food, their parents were here, and I was the one to chew stones in Kathmandu. Can you believe that? That is actually, well, I mean it. I was chewing stones, pebbles in Kathmandu, but I
Didn't give up.
didn't give up. And that is the result of what I am today.
Of the
Thank you, stones. Thank you, stones.
everyone's clapping, but it was difficult, as you said. It was difficult to basically even eat at that
Oh, yeah.
time, right? That there's food, there's problems with not just like living out in rent,
Yeah.
food. There were stuff that you wanted to do. There was, everything needs money at
Yeah.
all times in all generations.
But we never gave.
But you never
we
gave
never
up.
gave up.
You never gave up.
Never.
And that's something that we should, I think,
Of
encourage
course.
people is whatever you do, if you're lacking money, if you're lacking some sort of, vision or something, try to keep hitting hard, right? Don't give up. Do not give up.
This is what I'm just trying to do something else with this. Well, don't be mistaken. I mean, I'm not a very. There's something emergency over here.
Oh, quick photo.
Like this, you see? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Now, this point, your final point, that is because I'm also a person who believes in karma, work. Keep on working, keep on working. I just don't know whether that would be fruitless, forever.
Gotcha.
That can bring some good results. So youngsters, don't get impatient. Try to be, you have to wait. You have to really find the results on your own. So this will make you happy if you can do it.
And there's another point to that, I think, is we lack patience. And I'll tell you, as our generation, we lack patience.
And now, in these times...
Even worse, because of instant gratification.
Yeah.
Everything's given to us on a plate.
Oh, yes.
You got a mum, dad feeding you.
Yeah.
You got media serving you news.
Yeah.
You don't have to struggle to do anything. You don't have to go fetch a water. You don't have to physically walk to go to the school. Everything's online based. And this instant gratification has made us a dull generation. Not
So
just dull generation, it has made us so, I don't want to use the word impotent, but it has made us so backwards in terms of creativity. I do fear for this generation. And I do fear for myself as well, because I'm...
No, whatever the reasons, but you have to protect yourself. You have to take care of yourself on your own.
Yeah.
You see? So you cannot simply say that, no, I cannot do this because it's too difficult for me. No.
Yeah.
Just keep on crushing stones.
Keep grinding. You got this.
Keep grinding.
Eat pebble if you have to eat pebble.
Like in Nepal, you have got a stone manual grinder, There's a handle and two round stones, and then you keep on grinding.
Until it's a fine sand.
Until it's a fine sand. That is called in our Nepali language, I think it's called jato.
Jato kumani.
Yeah.
Right, conscious of time. How are we doing with time? What are we on now?
I'm really enjoying your questions,
57.
man.
57. So we got maybe another 10 minutes or so.
Carry on.
Yeah.
We'd like to know.
And I've honestly ran out of questions that I've asked everything that
Hopefully
I wanted
you're
to
not
ask.
asking me to dance now.
There will be something like that there. There will be something. So what do you do in terms of you have hobbies, right? What are your hobbies?
Oh, my hobbies, well, angling. Angling. Fishing.
Oh, okay.
Well, since my childhood, that's my hobby. That's been my hobby.
Really?
And year two, I go to a place called Gokarna. They've got a fishing resort. But now because of COVID-19 and because of the bad road, the conditions of the road, It's too bad, so I haven't been able to go there. But and the second one is cooking.
Oh, you like cooking?
Yeah, I feel like spending a lot of time in the kitchen. That means I'm of great help to my dear, dear, dear wife.
So the romance is still alive.
Oh yes, I cook well, according to my own standard. I cook delicious food, like sometimes Chinese, Indian, Nepali, of course, just to please my wife. You know that.
Nice. What's your favorite go-to dish? If you wanted to impress your wife again tomorrow, what would you cook?
She loves the usual Nepali fish curry. She likes that.
Yeah.
And on top of that, she likes some Chinese dishes. Indian dishes, well, she doesn't like much.
Yeah.
But Chinese.
Okay. I think
of late, I have learned a new way of preparing some Chinese food, and that is actually very fast takeaway type of food, without adding too many ingredients there. Just simple.
Simple, yeah.
And well, she likes
simple
it.
Yet sophisticated.
sorry for that. And that's we really do some varieties like frying.
Yeah.
Like some sort of pasta type.
Yeah.
And I do cook German food as well.
Oh.
Sausages.
Schnitzel.
Oh yeah, schnitzel.
Yeah.
Sure. And like that, and then, well, it's just simply,
It just unfolds. It depends on the mood of the day.
Yeah, it depends on the mood of the day, what you like to
Fair
cook.
enough. Fair enough. But it's been very interesting. Such a nice, 1 hour is gone. It's just, you don't realize that. It's just, time just flies, right?
You see,
when you're having fun.
I must make a compliment here to the program you said.
Sabali Talk.
Sabali Talk. Sabali.
He doesn't like that. He doesn't like that one.
No, I like that. No. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to, criticize what you're saying. Well, it's the way people do that. So, Sabali Talk. And this is the first time ever. I must congratulate you, Sabali Talk, for interviewing me from sunup to sundown in English language.
Full on.
I've been interviewed on many occasions by people, but they have asked me to speak in Nepali as well, which I generally do not really
Either you speak
prefer
in
to
Nepali
do.
or English, right?
I've been telling them, you see, I'm a broadcaster in English language, and I've been doing that for even right up to this day. So there were some requests made by other people. They said, we'd like to interview you, sir. And I said, how about interviewing me? Not in Nepali, in English.
Hesitant.
We really, English is not our... So I said, what do you want to know about me if I don't speak in English?
Yeah.
Because that has been my career.
Whole life, yeah.
That has been my career. That's been my style. That has been my bread earner.
Yeah.
So, congratulations, Sabali Talk, once again, for this interview, like I said, from sunup to sundown in English language, for the first time.
Thank you. Clap for us and the team as well. We'll introduce team in a bit. Questions back. I like this. Yeah. When the mind is, running.
Yeah.
Questions back. So I want to talk about your voice now. That was the.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So you have a very distinctive voice, and the voice is so powerful, and it resembles. I talked about this before the interview, that it resembles of a Hollywood person, namely Morgan Freeman, voice of God. And you have a very distinctive, and also it resembles a lot with Morgan Freeman. And that voice is so bassy.
Hopefully I didn't imitate her.
No, you don't.
Morgan Freeman. No.
You have such a bassy voice, and it's so, like, I think I've got a bassy voice, but just, hearing you speak, I'm gonna have to either like play around with the edit or something and boost my voice.
Yeah.
But how did you get this voice? Did you always have this voice?
Voice is given by birth.
But
Right.
I've seen people change their voice when they're interviewed.
Let's forget the singers. The singers, they have to undergo rehearsals and don't eat this and don't eat that and don't chew that and don't swallow that. Whereas the voice is actually, that comes from the birth. God has given good voices to everybody. I wouldn't say that voice is bad. But when you are wanting to become a radio man, when you want to be in front of the microphone, then certainly it's generally preferred that you have a good voice. Good voice means it's not full with gold or silver or diamonds. It should be very smoothie and very soothing to so like euphonic.
Yeah.
The voice should be euphonic, like you speak and the other person at the end, you don't say that whether he is educated or you don't say whether he is stupid, but he is your listener. He is listening to your voice.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter who he is or she is. All that matters is the voice that comes out at the other end is soothing. So, what a nice voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now look, many people who don't speak English language, they send in compliments saying that, oh, your voice is too good. Now here, what does this voice mean? Mm-hmm. Is this the natural tone it's coming out? Or it is the diction I'm using, like pronunciation and so on. So here it makes it difficult to differentiate, When someone says, you've got a good voice, that means the vocal cords.
Yeah.
And if the other one says, no, you have got a very good voice when you are reading news, then does he mean to say that I've got a good diction? So I
think it's both, bit of both. Because you can't have a very basic voice and expect that to be the voice of Radio Nepal, for example. You got to have a bit of both, right? You got to have a control in what you're saying.
So this is a question to you, valued viewers. Now the question is, if someone says you've got a good voice, and the other one says you have a good what you call diction.
Yeah.
So what does it mean? Does it mean that your diction is guided via voice, or the voice is guiding the diction?
Yeah.
Here you have to be very particular. A question mark
mark.
You.
A big question mark. Think and ponder.
And thank you for the answers.
Yeah. Right, I think we have come to an end of the show. I know we could talk about anything and everything and the topic would never end. But as always, there is time, and time is valuable.
Oh, yeah.
And we've taken a lot of your time, and we're ever so grateful for you to be on here, especially given a very short amount of notice period. Literally I spoke to Mama yesterday and spoke to Michael Uncle, and it just happened to just be within under 24 hours. And to come up with a content like this, I'm very happy with the content. I'm telling you, like I've got 6 episode worth of experience now. I'm telling you, the content that we've talked about and the stuff that we discussed, there's so much that the viewers can get out of this. And I just want to thank you for giving us that opportunity to share your journey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So my heartfelt thanks also to Sabali Talk for giving me this opportunity. Like the British would say, for giving me this opportunity, for giving me the opportunity to talk. And of course, I enjoyed the interview, your questions. Really, I wish you all the best, that you really come out with flying colors, with your voice and style and presentation. And certainly God will help you. Believe in God and believe in yourself.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sabali Talk team, for this great opportunity. Of course, my heartfelt thanks to you all people for picking up one pebble from among the many pebbles lying on the river floor, and that you just made me the chosen one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers. Team, do you want to do a quick? Just come in the frame. Come on, Himal, Vicky up. So this is again the team. So just want to say thanks to the team. Yeah. Nothing is possible. Okay, he's just blocked me. Nothing is possible without a solid team. And Mama, come, because without Mama, it definitely wouldn't have been possible. So thank you all again, Himal, Vicky, and Sunil Mama. Thank you. Clap yourself. Thank you guys. Honestly, I appreciate your help and the time that you've given me and us as well. So thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you too also.
Thanks.
Giving us the
opportunity.
Let's do a quick intro and then let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Because it's already 12.
So you liked it?
Yeah, it's very.
Did it go well?
It's really.
I tell
really
you, for the first time, from A to Z in English.
Never happened.
First time.
Never happened.
And